Hi, welcome to Friday Fat Chat. Thank you for joining us. I am Ivy Felicia, the founder of Fat Women of Color. I'm also the body relationship coach, and I'm happy to be here. We were already, before we hit the go live button, we were already talking and kikiing and having a party. And I was like, we have to go live. We have to go live because everybody's going to miss out on this. So we don't want y'all to miss out on the fun. So we have lots of awesome things happening today. We have a new featured guest, and we're going to be talking about music in the industry for people of size and what it looks like to show up in those spaces, to redefine the narrative, and why representation is important everywhere in every arena, which is part of why we created Friday Fat Chat, is so that we can amplify the experiences and the voices of Black and Brown women of size. And we want to continue to share stories with you and introduce you to people who are in these various spaces, doing all sorts of creative work, leadership work, training, teaching, and all of that. So thank you for watching. If you're joining us live, the way that you can participate is that you can drop your feedback in the comments and we can see in the chat. So we'll be able to see what you're saying. You can actually join the show that way. You can drop it on YouTube. You can drop it on Facebook. And we'll be able to see what you're saying. So if you have questions, if you have a yes that you want to give us, if you're excited, if you just want to show some love, you can also shout out your city. Let us know where you're watching from, because we have people watching from all over the globe, literally. Our guests are from all over the world, and our viewers and audiences from around the world as well. So feel free to drop that in the comment. So I don't want to delay this any further. Really quick, we want to thank our sponsors. Calabash Tea is a sponsor of Fat Women of Color, as well as a sponsor of the Friday Fat Chat show. And Calabash Tea is a tea house that is here in the Washington, D.C. area. The Fat Women of Color executive offices are here in the DMV. And so Calabash Tea, located in Washington, D.C., is Black and Indigenous owned, and they're supporting us by giving you all a discount. So the way that it works is that I always have to figure out, I'm going to get this on the first try one time. But if you go to calabashtea.com, they have tea, they have coffee, they have herbs, tinctures, they've got your Palo Santo, they've got your sage, all kind of awesome stuff there. And you can order it and they'll ship it right to your home. They have super fast shipping, so you'll get it quickly. And even though for some of us, depending on where you are in the globe, it's summertime and it's getting warmer, they have teas and things like that you can still turn into iced tea. I'm actually drinking a cup right now. So don't just think of it as hot stuff. You can have like your refreshing beverages as well. If you use our code, here we go, FWOC for Fat Women of Color, you'll get 10% off your order, and they'll also donate a portion of the proceeds to Fat Women of Color and the Friday Fat Chat show. All right, so no more talking from me. I want to get our guests on here so we can get into the conversation. Our featured guest today, we first met in 2019, and at the Take Up Space event in Atlanta. And I was so excited to have her come and be a part of the experience. But I want to talk about that with her on the camera. So welcome, DJ Queen.
Hello, everybody. Happy Friday.
Yes, it's Friday. So this is like your busy day of the week, right? Is this when like people are partying and stuff like that?
Yes, actually, yeah. And it's my busiest day of the week for like a lot of calls coming on Fridays. I don't know what it is. Everybody wants to schedule a call on a Friday when I'm available Monday through Tuesday, Wednesday. But it's okay. It's a busy day, but Fridays, yes, very busy.
Yeah, I guess on Fridays people are like, you know what? They're thinking about that wedding, or they're thinking about the part, like they've done all the other stuff, and they're like, oh, I was supposed to call the DJ.
Let me go ahead and set it up for 12 o'clock. Then I'm gonna set up one for 2:30. It's like, okay.
So we first met I found you online, and it was super exciting to find a DJ who labeled themselves as a plus size DJ, and who really embraced that label. And so when we were planning the Take Up Space experience, which is a live event that Fat Women of Color sponsors, where it's like a space where you can get together. We have sisterhood, we have music, we have talking, we have vendors, all that stuff, before COVID. So well, we were planning that in 2019, and we found you, and you were our DJ in Atlanta, and that's when we first met you.
Yes, yes. And I think 2019 is when I had just moved to Atlanta, I believe. I had just got
Yes.
here to Atlanta, and your event was amazing. I met so many great people, including yourself. And like you said, it was before COVID. So we definitely shared different things, about our bodies, and it was very positive environment to be in, and powerful as well to see so many women come together in that space. So thank you so much for creating that event, because without that being done, I would not have known you. So
Oh, thank
yeah.
you. No, it was great to meet you, and I'm glad that you enjoyed yourself when you were there, and that you made connections. I think that's one of the most valuable parts of the Take Up Space experience, is that yes, you come, you may learn things, you may find vendors and all of that, but you also get the chance to meet other Black and brown women and femmes of size, and so your network can expand, your community can expand.
Mhm.
And then so many people who meet there end up being friends, or they follow each other on social media and they stay connected and all of that.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. So I know you said you in 2019, when we first met, you were sort of just getting settled in Atlanta. So where were you before that?
Before that, I lived in Maryland. I lived in
Hmm.
Waldorf, Maryland. Before that, I'm from Washington D.C., but I lived in Maryland for most of my life, and that's where I came from. I used to be in healthcare. I used to work at Georgetown University Hospital for a couple years, almost like 6 years, and I decided that life wasn't what I wanted it to be, and I needed to get a little bit of an outlet. Wanted to experience things on my own, because when I went to college, I never went to actual, I never stayed on campus or anything like that. I went online. So I wanted to just experience meeting different people than where I was from. So got in my car, packed it up, DJ stuff to the roof, and drove to Atlanta.
So you took the leap, right, of
Mhm.
like saying, okay, I'm going to go meet new people.
Mhm.
I'm just going to do something new. What was that like to just like jump out there and try something, be in a new space and try a whole new life experience?
It was really hard, because definitely in the African American community, we don't know that we suffer a little bit with depression, and depression can be shown in different ways. Like, it shows that you can have a lot of energy about something, and you can kind of tune out life and tune out what's really going on, or you could have the type of depression where you sleep for like 12, 16 hours or whatever. So it was really hard. I went through hard depression when I first got here, just because I did not know if I was going to be, successful at meeting new people and putting my career, starting my career over just a little bit when it comes to clientele. So I say the first 4 months was very stressful,
Mm,
in so many ways. But you know, it's not how you start the race, it's how you end it. So
yeah. So in those moments where you said you were experiencing depression now, did you know that's what was happening then, or did you find out later?
I didn't know that's what was happening then. I found out later. I had to actually go get, seen by someone here in Georgia,
Hmm.
because I had those high moments when I was happy and blocking everything out, not knowing that my savings account is not looking well, and not knowing that, I was inside of sleeping in Airbnbs and paying for them per day. I didn't have anywhere solid to stay when I first moved here. So I definitely knew that something was wrong, especially when I started to sleep more. I would go to sleep some days for a whole entire day. I would wake up, So I was like, something ain't right. You ain't supposed to sleep that much. So I didn't know. Actually, I thought it was going through depression. I thought I was just going into, maybe I don't know. I just thought maybe I just needed to get used to Atlanta is the reason why I slept a lot. But so yeah, I was depression. And then I found out I had anxiety. I'm like, okay, who doesn't?
Yeah, anxiety and depression are hand in hand. I noticed that.
Mhm.
And because you can have a lot going on with the stimulation and all those things. I'm not. Let me preface this. I am not a professional psychologist, but I am a person who lives with anxiety. So I understand like the ebbs and flows of that. You can
Mhm.
have like those, where you have a lot of stimulation and then you can go into the depression, and
Yes.
vice versa.
Mhm.
Um, and I think, talking about that, especially going through the mental health challenges,
Mhm.
taking the leap in regards to your dream and building your brand and your business, right? And I think that these are things that we don't talk about a lot, especially as um, Black women who are building something, right? If you look at Instagram, you would think that all entrepreneurs are like sitting with a laptop by the beach and drinking drinks and traveling and networking and like, oh, I'm over that whole job thing and I work for myself and I
Mhm.
drive this awesome car and
Mhm.
live in this
Mhm.
awesome place and I socialize with awesome people.
Yes.
And it's like, this is the real shit that happens behind the scenes with like
Yeah.
when you start out, right?
It's always that start point. Like I told you, I lived in Airbnbs for a couple of months. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
blew money on them when you thought about it because I paid other people's rent. But I did that, and I just didn't have any solid foundation here in Atlanta at the time, which that it really didn't seem like it was going to scare me, but it did.
Mm-hmm.
And it started to become a problem to me. I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and go back home because I definitely jumped into this one. But like you said, people think it's glamorous life. I'm telling you, like building something with your own hands and your own mind is so rewarding. I will not lie, but actually getting to the point where you reap the benefits from your actual business or whatever you're doing, it's going to be a journey. It's not going to
Yes.
be an easy journey, and it's going to be like a knockout, drag out fight. And I'm
Yeah.
telling you, like a lot of people will see you on social media. Oh, you doing good, sis? You doing great, sis? Am I?
Yeah.
Did you reach out to me? Am I really doing great, or
Yeah.
you just feel like because social media bait, I'm doing okay? All
Mm.
right.
And it's sort of like a double-edged sword, right?
Mhm.
Because when you're building a brand and you're building a business, part of what makes you attractive, right, to customers or even business to business connections is that people are attracted to successful people, right?
Yeah.
So if you are like, you know what, I'm out here struggling at the beginning of building it, then customers don't want to come buy from you because like, oh, she might not have her shit together. I don't think I want to invest in her or hire her or
Yeah.
work with her, or even other businesses might not want to collab because like, oh, people make a judgment and they think
Mhm.
you're not professional because you
Yeah.
don't have everything lined up and packaged perfectly, your website, your pictures, your forms, your systems. These are all the things that we get pressured to have all this shit together like from day one.
They want they want you to make sure you got everything right from day one. It's like, do you even know how this works? I don't think you know
Yes.
how it works.
Yes. So what is it that like you went through that, right? That period where it was like
Mhm.
really difficult
Yes.
and complicated and a lot of things were going on. So what was it that sustained you during that time and made you keep going and push through, because you're still doing it now. So
Yeah.
something happened. Something happened that got you from there to here.
Well, I would say what sustained me the most is definitely we have to trust the God that we believe in. Whatever God you pray to, best believe that God is listening. What sustained me the most too, as well as I wanted to fight for. In my family, I'm like probably the first entrepreneur, and
Mm-hmm.
someone who can lay a foundation for our generation coming up and things like that. So I wanted to make sure that someone in our family laid that path. I didn't have a door that opened for me easily. My sister didn't have it, so we need to create these things where when our kids grow up, like, let them know how it is to build, but like give them a little bit of a foundation, something to start on. So I just definitely wanted to prove to myself that I could do something, and I could put my energy in it, and it'll bloom, and it'll come out to being something truly beautiful. So I think what sustained me the most was just for me to actually go through with what the reason why I moved to Georgia.
Mm. So it might sound cliche, but what I hear you saying is like remembering your why, right?
Yeah.
I hear that all the time. People are like, remember your why. And
Mhm.
it's because it can sound cliche, like, especially when you're in the middle of all the shit. It's like, I don't care about the why. Like, I might just
Right.
quit.
Yes.
But it really can be grounding, is what I hear you saying. It's like, wait,
Mm.
I left my home, like I packed all my stuff up. I came down here, I started this, something inspired me, and like tapping back into that and connecting with that.
And I definitely see a interview with like Lizzo like a couple months ago, and she said the same thing you just said. She said, and where I'm from, if you say you're going to move and do something, you got to do it. You got
Mm.
to go through with it. You need to push yourself to do it, because where you from, most of the time people think that you're not going to be able to do it. It's
Yes.
not proving yourself to people, it's really proving yourself to yourself. Like, you ever
Mm.
heard the song Me versus Me? That is the
Mhm.
truth. It's you versus you. People look at it as me versus these people that's doing the same thing I'm doing. No, it's you versus you. And however your life comes out, it comes from you. Just, however your life comes out, it comes out from you believing in yourself mostly. And you don't have to look for none of those people that give you the clout to keep going. Because trust me, I didn't have none of that. I didn't have nobody rooting for me on the other side when I first moved here. So I had to make sure I root for myself. And then I think, to be honest though, Ivy, it starts with self-love first. You have to
Mm.
love yourself first before anything you do, anything in your career, before you decide to even do a business, before you even decide to work for corporate America. Love yourself first. And then after you build that love for yourself, things won't be so draining, and it won't be so annoying, and it won't be so irritating, and you won't always see the negative. You'll start seeing the positive because you love on yourself.
I love that. I think that the value, because I think a lot of times, especially again, going back to what we see on like Instagram or social media or whatever, or now I guess the new thing is like TikTok, but
Mhm.
that again, that expectation versus reality,
Mhm.
um, you know, and you think that, oh, you're going to start something out, and you see other people with like all these thousands or hundreds of thousands or even millions of followers, and they're super successful, and you're looking at that, and then you're kind of like comparing yourself to that and thinking, okay, I want to get there quickly, but and have these people hyping me up, or people being, fans or followers or whatever. But in those times, like behind the scene, when you're
Mhm.
doing the work, when you're building something,
Yes.
I agree with that. Like your own belief in yourself is what is going to hold you down.
Yes. And stop comparing yourself to other people.
Yes.
And, I tell people, not everybody you walk past or meet wear the same size shoe as you. And that
Mm-hmm.
means that you guys both have different destinies, different journeys that God is going to take you through. You guys have different walks of life that may happen in the next few years. Stop comparing yourself to other people, and then stop trying to be like the other person too as well. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, like, before we even get into this part of the interview, I don't think that I'm marketed well enough for
Mm.
the type of platform that I tried to put a indent into the music industry. However, I made sure that I marketed it myself enough,
Yeah.
regardless of who had this many followers and 10K, whatever. I don't really care, because you can buy them these days, so we ain't stupid.
Right.
However, um, However, I will tell you, every follower on my Instagram, I do know. And
Mm.
everybody, on any person that follows me, I know them from either doing an event or they was part of an event, things like that. So I like to create a circle and a whole vibe of great people that really want the same things you want, and they really have the same the same, like, yeah, I it's me versus me, man. It's what I put into is what I'm gonna get out. So like you said, it's like stop comparing yourself. Like just live your life. It's beautiful, you know. Regardless of COVID, you know, COVID did take us to a little, it did take us a little through a little something, you know.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, you know, just always know that you are your biggest priority. And I'm saying that not just, you know, for the people who think it may come off selfish, you got kids, if you're married, whatever. But always, you know, sometimes you gotta put yourself first just a little bit. I mean, it might come off selfish, especially for me moving to Atlanta. My family definitely told me I was super selfish. Uh, and I felt that way for a while, but you know what it is when you stand up and you start pouring love into yourself, people don't understand.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like you can't really prove, you know, you can't really make them understand, or you shouldn't really want them to stand there. You shouldn't want to stand there and try to beg them to understand,
Yeah.
because self-love is about you. It's about your thinking.
Yeah. Everything you're saying, I agree with, and I'm in fully alignment with. And I think, like, in comparison to when I first started out, brand building and saying, okay, I'm going to work for myself and trying to build something. And it was out for me. I started out with like a lot of looking around, and it wasn't from a place of comparison. It was more from like, what am I supposed to be doing? Because like you said, not coming from this space of a family where, oh, you know, my parents and grandparents were entrepreneurs. Like, no, that wasn't the shit that I came from. So it was like, what am I supposed to be doing here? And so you look at other people and you're like, okay, I'm looking there. And then once I got into the groove and really got into it, it was like, you know what? You're going to have to put like those old-fashioned horse blinders where it's like the blinders on the side. You have to put your blinders on, focus on your lane, and like, you know, get into that. And like,
Yeah.
what are you supposed to be doing? As far as, like you said, staying with your why, which could, you know, vacillate over time, your why, but really staying tapped into, is this serving me? And is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And less about how other people are doing it, because other people are doing it based on their personality, their experiences, their needs, and things like that. But you have to tune back into yourself. So I fully agree with like not looking around and worrying about that.
Absolutely, because like you said, like I told you, the back to the self-love point, a lot of people haven't experienced a way to how to do that yet, so they move a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones that you might see as the clout chaser, the want people to be their friend and want people to love what they're doing. It's because they never felt that type of love. And so
Mm-hmm.
they seek it in other places. And that social media is the biggest downfall we could have ever done to America,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people think that this is family, or this is, you know, these imaginary people they don't know. This is love. Me getting 1,200,000 likes is love. Me being found on TikTok and TikTok signing me as a dancer is love. Like, it all starts with you, man. Listen, I don't down nobody's career who make it from the social media sites. Congratulations. But like, you gotta definitely start with yourself. So when you do move forward in your professional career, when those people stop liking you and stop sending those likes, it won't bother you any, because you be like, I already know who I am. I already know what type of woman I am. So like, let's not even try that.
Yeah. And people are fickle. People are fickle. People are wishy-washy, which is fine. You know, people go through different things. And if you're building your confidence and
Mhm.
your self-esteem on the people, something I've said before in my timeline is like, don't do it for the applause, which
Yes.
kind of came up to me in life. It's like, if you start off doing it for the claps, like kind of whatever, then you're always going to have to like shuck and jive to keep getting that those applauses. So it's like, don't do it for that, because
Mhm.
then it's another way of being controlled, right, by an external
Absolutely.
source. Like, even when you're, you know, in the body positive community and things like that, or if you're working in social activism and you're like, you know what, I don't want to acquiesce to social beauty standards and things like that. But before you know it, you're still tap dancing to society, because you're still worried about who likes you and who doesn't like you. So it's like you have to release doing it for the applause.
Tap dancing for society. You should put that on a shirt. My goodness. I love that because I mean it's just like when you talk about my professional career when I came out as a plus size DJ, people were like,
Yeah.
"What? You're promoting obesity." You know how many male DJs told me that wasn't cool, that I wanted to promote obesity, and they call me so many names and all this other stuff.
Wow.
But listen, every time you called me a name, I took that and thought about it and took it to the bank, okay?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I might, he called me, Big Purr. I might put some stuff on
I
some
saw you talking about that. So
oh
what's up with that? Tell us about like what's up with the big person thing.
oh I heard it twice. Somebody was like, because
Wow.
it was one time I was here and I was having a conversation with a young lady. She wanted to become a DJ, but her girlfriend was sitting next to me, and she was like, "Yeah, I heard you tell somebody you're a female DJ." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a plus size female DJ." So we had a good conversation, but with her girlfriend getting kind of jealous about the conversation, I heard her girlfriend say, "Oh, she's DJ Big Purr," and I was like, "Okay, I'll take it, sweetie." And
That's
then
actually kind of cute. I mean, but
I kind of like it.
yeah, I'm like, that's kind of cute. Like you could like roll a whole brand out with.
Yeah, I kind of like it. And then I went home. To see my mom because she's happily retired. Thank the Lord.
Mhm.
She did her 30 years in the government and she bought a boat. So we went to do that. And I was at a club, thinking that, everybody like to see you when you go back home. They don't like to see you. Okay.
Mhm.
Especially if you're looking good.
Yeah,
And
because
and
that's where
I
you came from.
Yeah. And I heard the guy was talking to me. He's the DJ, and then I into stuff, because I'm a real. Let me tell you, I don't do it for the clout. I don't do it for you to sign me, give me a job. I don't do it for you, give me any type of money, because I'm gonna always make sure my kingdom is good. Any type of
Mhm.
way. So, I extend myself to the DJs. I say, hello. I give them. Sometimes, I just extend myself because that's the type of person I am. I like to meet different people, and I like for them to meet me. So I meet the DJ, and it's one, I don't want to put it like into that situation because he might be like, "Oh, okay, she's talking about me." Um,
Too
you know,
too many details are gonna connect the dots. Like ah.
but someone in the club, long story short, they were like saying DJ Big Purr, and then they played it's like some little hip hop song. I think it was like, "They call me Big Purr" or something like that, and they were just like dancing and laughing. Okay, listen, I understand that a lot of people don't love themselves, and I just take it as that. I
Yeah.
never take it as something is super wrong with me. I always
Yeah.
take it as it's something I'm doing right here is the reason why they're doing this. Trust me, I was somebody who was bullied in high school. I'm talking about bullied bad because I used to wear like these Coke bottle glasses, like real thick. This is like, I think LASIK was definitely made for me.
Oh.
So I ended up getting LASIK anyway in 2017. So yeah,
Mhm.
best decision I've ever made. But so I used to get bullied a lot. And I think in high school, you know what it was though? I never cracked under pressure till I got home.
Mhm.
I used to cry and stuff at home like that. But like in school, I still be like, "Okay, girl, you talking about my hair. So what about yours?" Like I used to still be, keeping that hard exterior, and people couldn't understand the little girl with these Coke bottle glasses still holds her head high. People hate to see you hold your head high. They hate
Yeah.
to see it when you are going through things where they can, if they find out about your personal life and they see you still like holding your head high and they know what's going on with your life, they're like, "Well, how's she still doing that? Well, how's she still, smiling and everything like that?" It's just all about me. It's all about inside of you that I don't, won't nothing break me unless it's something that happens to my family or something like that. But nothing breaks a woman who is destined to be something.
Yeah.
um we go through things. Yeah, we go through a lot of things when it comes to relationships and finances and family and all of that. But you ever heard the term strong woman? That's what we wear. That's for women to wear. And I think, did you see what happened to Monique when she was talking about the bonnets and all of that?
Oh Lord. Do we do
Because I
we
was just
have to go on the bonnet thing?
because I was just saying like
I don't know
strong
if we have
women.
enough time on that. That's a whole
I
nother
was
thing.
I was kind of saying like strong women, like, we are, as it doesn't matter what we do in life as women. We need to band together, period. We are the backbones of each other. Our
Yeah.
ancestors were the backbones of each other. Like we got to stop acting like we separated or
Yeah.
we are better than or we
Yeah.
are from a different cloth. Because baby, we got some of the same blood. Trust
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
especially as a woman. And I
Yeah.
hate to see the separation when it comes to business, when it comes to anything. The separation, I think the bonnet talk was separating us.
It's
As
divisive. Yeah.
yes, us
Yeah.
just saying, oh, this one, if you wear this and that. I mean, let's be clear. A lot of us grew up in broken households and things that we can write a book about. So, people like Monique, I just think she goes through a lot, been through a lot. We've read it, we've heard it. So, you know, I just don't think, especially for the generation coming up, she just kind of just separated the whole unity of women, and she made it into what she wanted to make it into for clout.
Yeah. Like, whew, okay. I'm trying to tap into I'm trying to tap into communal compassion, because this whole bonnet thing is like still a hot, sensitive topic for me. But because I have so much passion, because I guess like you're saying, I don't like to see women put other women down. I don't like to see people put other people down first. And second of all, the whole conversation around respectability politics, which is a whole nother thing. But going to the foundation of what you're talking about, it sounds like you're talking about community. And
Yeah.
one of the things we talk about a lot on Fat Women of Color is like that collective care, right? Like holding each other down. And it's one of those things where, like, we talk about it being a circle, right? So if you think about a circle, like sometimes you might be in the center of that circle, right? And that might be your moment where you're not feeling strong, where you're vulnerable, where you're tired, where you need healing, and the circle is holding you and showing up for you, whether they're speaking over you or praying for you or whatever. And then another time you might go back to the outside of the circle and somebody else's time to be in the middle. But the whole thing is to keep in mind is that everybody's going to have their day in the center where they need to be held. And so while you're maybe looking at somebody else or pointing a finger or judging or holding someone down, just know that your day is going to come when you're going to need the community, and it'll be your time in the middle of the circle.
Yes. 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 So yeah, like you said, we could go on and on about the bonnet talk. We can go ahead and
Well, I do want to hear like about who has, you talking about being in the industry and being a woman, being a person of size, being Black, and being a DJ in the music industry. I'd love to know who has been your inspiration along the journey. Like who
you
sort of like held you down, and you like look at that person and be like, okay, you know, not comparison, because we talked about that, but
Mhm.
maybe inspiration, or someone maybe who held you in faith.
Okay, so definitely holding me in faith is definitely I would say my partner. She is the most, I mean, beautiful thing in the world. I met her here in Georgia. So we ain't gonna go into that, but happy Pride Month, everybody.
Love it. Shouting
However,
out the partner.
yes. And however, come on now, music. I love music. I love the creativity of music. I love the people that make it. And Lizzo, for me, boo boo, she helped me kind of see through things a little bit, especially in the music industry. If you've seen her promote herself now, she promotes herself a lot differently than what she did when she first came out.
Hmm.
And she promotes herself in a way where it's beneficial to her and it's
Mm.
not beneficial to everyone else. Like before, yeah, she probably had that, let's do this for this person or make it look this way so it doesn't look, raunchy, or, I don't lose subscribers from it or money from it, money deals. But like, I love the fact that she promotes herself in the way that makes her comfortable.
Yeah.
And I think if I wasn't for her, honestly, I wouldn't, I wouldn't know how I would have moved through life with trying to put my imprint into the music industry as a plus size DJ. Um, Not just saying because she's the only figure that, because she's mainstream, that is showing bigger women of size that we are someone
Yeah.
and we are equal as like
Yeah.
everybody else. But she's like one of those factors. When you listen to her music, definitely, and just seeing the way that she promotes herself. So those two people.
Love it.
And definitely let's see, add a third. Let's add God. Listen, do anything without having your faith. And I told you, it doesn't matter who you believe in, what type of God you believe in, but you got to have something that's high. You have to put all of your energy into something that's higher than you. So that way you have that extra, it's just like having a manager, right? Where you have that manager that could take care of some of the stress from you, that could take some of the phone calls and emails and things like that. People need to put that in regular perspective in your life. You need someone that you would, pray to, give that extra baggage, say, hey, this is what I'm going through. Like I'm letting it all out. I need some help to get through things. So it's always a lot of factors, especially especially for you, Ivy, or anyone who's an entrepreneur. It's always a lot of factors that kind of keep you grounded. It could be family sometimes.
Yeah.
Family grows to love you when they see that you're actually going through with things that you said that you were going to do. And that's what I had to learn. I used to think that was tough love, or they just didn't care, or it was like, oh man, like how did I even end up with these people? But it really is that because back in the day, like they never trust me, the millennials now, we are wild. Okay. We sit up there and have a whole corporate job feeding 4 families and be like, forget that corporate job. I want to learn how to build computers. Like, so they look at us like, you're crazy. Like, you better go over there and get that 401k and that retirement plan, because I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So for families, they definitely want you to see you go through with it and push through. And trust me, they're watching you.
Yeah.
No matter how hard, tough love that you get from them, sometimes they are looking for you to succeed. They may not say it, but they're looking for you to succeed. They're proud. They're proud of you. Like my mom gave me that tough love, but at the end of the day, we had a heart to heart, and she's like, it's all about that. I'm actually proud of you, actually, and sometimes, back where in my day, when my mom never showed, that type of love. Like, she talked about how our grandmother never showed that type of love to her and things like that. So I get it. It's different factors of, but like you said, you sound like you could agree to the family thing. Like they're,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one thing that you and I have in common is that I'm from the DMV as well, and I moved to Atlanta as well. And I just sort of like up and moved to Atlanta. At the time I was teaching, so and I had been in childhood education for like 10 years. That's all I was, like well vested, right? And I had like a contract, and I had a contract that was coming up for the next year, was already signed. And it was like, you know what, I'm moving to Atlanta, which is a whole nother story. But anyway, moved to Atlanta too. And then when I got there, I stayed in the childcare industry for a while. And then it was like, you know what, women's empowerment has always been there. And then over time, it was, going to school for holistic wellness and things like that. It just kind of unfolded. And so I agree that at the beginning, someone told me one time, they said, sometimes your family, when you like, say you up and move, like for me, my whole family is from Maryland, like both sides, like they did not move outside of Maryland. And that is no shade, no judgment at all, but it's one of those things where you're doing something different. And so the only way that they know to respond is sometimes from fear, and not because they want to hold you back, but because they want to protect you. And because they didn't do it, it's kind of like they don't know what's out there, and you're going out into a space that they're not familiar with. So they don't know what to tell you. They don't have advice. You're just doing something that's off the path of what everybody else is doing, especially here in the DC area. Everybody has a government job. It's like you get a good government job, especially for Black people. That's the thing. Get a good government job.
The good government.
Good government job. And then you can get your house. You're going to have good money. You're going to have a pension. You're going to be set. You can get your house. It's like everybody follows that same. Again, no shame, no judgment, DMV, DC family at all. But it's one of those things where that was the thing. So if you do something different, everybody's like looking at you like, what are you doing? Why would you take that risk? And the people who love you sometimes just want to protect you from failing. But like you said, if you stay consistent and then they look and it's like, oh, she's really building something over there. Like you say, you're just laying brick by brick, and they're like,
Oh yeah.
oh,
Oh yeah.
she's really doing something. And then they start to get on board. And then it's like, oh, do you know about my cousin, sister, friend, whatever, who's doing this? Because now you started to build something, a name for yourself.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm saying. I think it's an up north thing. You just said everything, girl. We should make a book about 95 South. Like, go on 95 South.
That there you go. That's a whole interview conversation. Look, event in itself. 95.
Yeah, 95 South. My partner definitely wants me to write a book. Definitely, because she's from Georgia, so she
Okay.
kind of doesn't, here they like loving, and the family is family, and they share houses, and they buy properties, and people live in the properties. Like, we don't have that up north. We have family that is straight up true. They'll tell you how they feel at a moment, at the drop of a hat. They don't color code it or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a family that, up there, they just live a different life. They live a different life of having to, let's see, I think the word is just having to survive and having to be okay with not ask for help, have to be okay with
yes,
the absent this, the absent that. They have to be okay with everything up north. Like, we literally up there, people bottle things in for years. I mean, years, and it makes them tough, and it gives them this exterior where they think that it's something they're supposed to keep and have, and that's the way life is, and it's supposed to be this. I ain't supposed to tell nobody when I'm going through. I'm supposed to just look like I'm making it. That's
yeah.
Up north is a weird energy. I rarely see people cry from where we're from. Like,
yeah.
I
never thought of this as an up north thing. I thought this was just like a family. But I'm like, this is what it is.
Because this is what it is.
I thought it was just like a family cultural thing, but it makes sense that you have that sense of, like you said, you have to make it, you have to deal with it. Shit's gonna happen. Pick yourself up, dry your tears, get your shit together, and be independent. Don't ask for help. Definitely don't say that you're falling apart or you're breaking down or it's hard or anything like that. So I did not think.
Well, I think the thing is, we have separations of family up there more than they do in the South. We're okay with not knowing our cousin that lives next door up there. We're okay with not knowing our uncles. We're okay with that, and we're okay with not extending ourselves to get to know them. We're okay with trying to look like we are doing better than, if that makes sense. Like, it's kind of like, those modern day families that lived in those, those back in the 70s, and they had like those videos they show, like modern families with like, they used to wear the matching outfits and the big glasses and lived in nice neighborhoods. That's kind of like, I feel like up north we kind of try to paint that to people, like I'm decent, I'm good. My
mom, the one who made it.
My mother always has this thing where she say, I'm good. She says it to this day, And I think most of that comes from saying, I'm not okay. And it's not that I'm not okay financially. I'm not okay with having to bury things from my childhood, and I'm still taking it with me into my 40s and 50s. I'm not okay with the way family treat each other, but you're going to say, I'm good. Because that's the way you kind of hide things. Especially, listen, I honestly... The South was harder back in the day to come out to say that, hey, I'm gay. But like, definitely to me up north, the way that people go about our lives there, I was terrified to, tell my mom, because that's one thing about up north families. We don't like to have any disappointments around us or people in our families. So people can say, oh, people can talk about you,
Yeah.
We just don't like to have that type of stuff around, because we want everybody to think that we birthed perfect children and we are living perfect lives.
Yeah. So was it easier for you? And if you're listening to this, the replay, we are now in June, so it's Pride Month. Was it easier for you to come out and have your partner and all that once you went to Atlanta, or did that transition happen while you were here?
I think the purpose, I'll be honest with you, for me to move to Atlanta was for me to be able to be who I wanted to be. Because I knew that up north, definitely, because they listen, they sway you from even wanting to sell milk up there. Like, you can't sell that milk. You know what happens? It's going to spoil. You know, they always have this weird way of telling you about your life. It's like naysay, like, come on.
Yeah.
So I think definitely if I would have came out and lived it back home, they would have been like, you're confused, you're going through a phase, you're doing this, like you're doing it because somebody else is doing it. So definitely moved to, kind of deal with it on my own.
Okay.
Like I said, it was part of my depression when I first got here, not gonna lie. And I wanted to definitely kind of deal with it on my own and then take constructive criticism from people once I woke up from my anxiety and depression. Because trying to take all of that at once, and it's kind of like a rock crushing you, right? And you putting your hands out and you're like, oh no, like, don't crush me, rock, because you gotta kind of deal with some things at face value. I did learn one word when I moved here, though, is accountability. Definitely take accountability for what you do in your actions. Even when people have these weird reactions to you, you always think, why me? Why is it you? Why are you disrespectful to me? But I took accountability. I think, for me, I should have told my mother before I left. That's accountability. I should have done that. And she didn't find out until I actually moved here. And, we had like a little riff in our relationship, but in my brain, I didn't see that I was at fault. And so when I started to learn to take accountability for my actions, things cleared up in my life and got a lot better, because you definitely have to you definitely have to ground yourself to understand that everybody not out to get you. Sometimes some things you have to deal with yourself, and then you can go, deal with them at face value. Stop making it seem like it's just me. Why me?
So, like, and you being in Atlanta now, have you found community there as far as queer community, and have you found like support there for your lifestyle to where now you feel like you have some sort of family in ATL?
Yes, I do have a big community of people. I work with some great people as well. And I think it had a lot to do with my career and me being able to be successful here in Georgia. I think I wear the glow, honey. It's the glow. When you got some, when you finally can experience, you knock off some of those, it's kind of like chipping off like brick or whatever. Like you knock off some of that brick and you finally can see what's underneath it. These are factors.
Yeah.
Having a family, having that village, having people to talk to, vent to, someone who won't judge you from just saying crazy things. Like I like crazy things like, hey, I'm allergic to dairy, but I drink milk still. Like, what? Because I am allergic to dairy, but I still love cheese. I mean, a lot of cheese. But anyway, but it's just, having that village and that community, and it's just not, because, everybody get twisted, though. They get it twisted. Like, you go to Atlanta, you are turn gay. Like, you're going to go there, and they're going to turn. It's everywhere now. Like, it's when you walk out your front door. It's where you walk to your local store, your schools. Like, if you're a school teacher, you've seen it all. Okay, it's everywhere now. So I definitely want people to stop that stigmatism of moving to Atlanta, you turn, because it's not the truth. It's not the truth. Most of us moved here because we know that we're going to have a community of people who go through the same things mentally that we're going through at the time. And you want to be able to vent, and they vent to you, and you have these crying sessions, these yelling sessions, and you're like, oh, this is beautiful. So that was like kind of my reasoning of moving and everything like that. Like I think once I met that beautiful, because I mean, it doesn't even matter if you're queer, gay, whatever, we are all beautiful people in our own ways. We have so much to give to the world. We have so much to give to people, and I just want people to understand that you have so much to give. You have to put it, because I used to work in healthcare too, and I used to work in a transplant unit, and a lot of people who wanted to live couldn't. And when you see that at face value, you stop complaining about things, or you stop letting family issues or thing. Like, you have to understand you're a beautiful person. You put here for purpose. And even those people who were sick and on their deathbed, they were put here for purpose. And so So that's just the way you gotta live. You gotta see something tragic. I'm telling you, and it'll make you change your whole outlook on life. Like, I'm so much of I'm so humble now, and I'm so humble, and I'm just so grateful just for the way things are moving in my life. I couldn't ask for anything more. It's not about the finances, it's not about the money. It's about the things that you've created from your fingers. Like you said, building brick by brick. Like if we can literally, as entrepreneurs, go to the Home Depot and buy cement and start to lay our bricks throughout our career, like we can build a whole entire a big Empire State Building together. Like, because it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's rewarding when you look, especially if you started out, you didn't have any sort of like plan, not like a business plan, but I'm saying when you build a building, you have some sort of like, oh, okay, here's where the bathroom's going, here's where the front door is going, or maybe you went and bought like the plans for the building. But when you start out and it's a dream or it's a passion, it's like, okay, I know I want to do something different in the world. I want to create something different. I have this dream in my heart. And like you said, you don't come from a past where other people were doing those things, and you're sort of freestyling with your building.
I didn't have no PPP loan when I was moving to Georgia. Okay, I didn't have none of that. No PPPs.
No PPP. Look, PPP, I'm going to keep it all the way real on this. Like PPP for me was, I'm going to drive for Lyft part-time because I need to eat and help pay the bills. And I'm going to do this on the side. I'm going to do that on the side and do a whole bunch of other creative shit to help pay the bills. Those are the things that people don't know and don't see, because they'll see your arrival story.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, and it looks like you popped up, right? Like you're talking about Lizzo. People really think Lizzo just like popped up out of nowhere. No,
like 2000.
I tell people all the time, go to her Instagram right now, scroll until you can't scroll anymore, so you get to the bottom. See how she started. The pictures are still there unless she took it out. Yeah, unless she took them off. You will see her evolution over time. You will see her performing in bars. You was even in the caption, she talks about that, right? Like how she had to perform sometimes and not get paid and all these other things. Like Lizzo didn't just pop up and become like this superstar who's on the award shows and everybody loves. It's like, oh, Lizzo. Like now everybody's a fan. But there were the days where nobody knew her name, right? And nobody knew who she was. And that's the story that people need to know, so that they don't give up, like you're telling us about your journey of
yes. And then you want to know what's funny before we get off of here? Like, y'all with these PPP loans, you not know how far you can go. Because everybody keeps telling me you got a PPP. I'm like, no, I don't. Because listen, there are some things that when you go into business for yourself, you cannot be naive. You had to be able to back yourself when nobody's going to do it. And research and make sure you're doing the right thing, because like we talked on the phone before, it's about business credit. It's about making your business show up on paper looking great. It's not about the money all the time. Okay. It's about you looking great. So, I mean, everybody in Georgia talks about it. You ain't got this PPP. Oh, well, girl, I'm going to flip this. We'll do it. Because honestly, the loan is to pay for your business and your employees. Let's keep it fucking real.
Yeah.
But they use it for themselves to jumpstart a business. If you're gonna jumpstart it, cool, do it. But I haven't really seen
But just know that that's gonna circle. We talk about that. Just know that could circle back around and bite you in the ass if you're not doing it right.
Yeah, but then the thing is, people think you jealous, or because you ain't get the piece of the pie or whatever. Oh, because you just so I just don't say nothing. I just let it all just
Yeah.
Hopefully,
and that's one of the things. Like as marginalized people who start businesses, a lot of people don't know, right? Like systems and are set into place to dish out this money like so easy. And then you look up and you're trying to build and then it's like, oh, now they have their handout. Like, oh wait, you owe this back. It's like, oh wait, I thought this was just free money. You have to realize, like, really research and be cognizant of what you're doing with your business, because it can be your legacy. Like, I don't think people think of the fact that your business can be your legacy and you're building something that's going to outlive you. I mean, like, Roy Rogers is not still, I'm just using a random example, is not still alive. The person who founded Chick-fil-A, whatever, these people who founded these businesses and brands are not still alive, but it lives long beyond them. And if that's what you want to create, then you have to think about, like, how are you building legacy? Not just making a decision for now, but that long term.
Because I don't want nobody, if I ever have kids, for them to come back and say, oh, DJ Queen, we're collecting $25,000 for DJ Queen Entertainment. They're like, what?
It'll be bigger than that by then. It'll be in the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, but they're like, what my mama do that? I owe that. What is she doing? So, like you said, just do your research. Stop being a follower. Do what you want to do.
They'll be like, back in the plague of 2020, when your mother took out this money, and now your business is in debt. So you
we coming to get the house. We coming to get all that stuff she bought with the PPP. We coming to get it. And you won't have none of it. So I'm joking. But listen, it's all about how you want to do your business. At no shade. I just wish everybody great success. And whatever you do, put your best foot forth. Do it with all great integrity. Don't do it because somebody else doing it next door. Do it because it's something that you love to do, because it's a lot of people who open businesses every 20 minutes in the US and they don't go through with it. They take the name, so now we can't have it, but they don't use the name ever again.
No, you're at a whole nother we're gonna have you come back, because that's a real thing. Like, we were joking a little bit, but this is real.
Yeah.
Hoarding the name, that's we got to come back and have a business conversation about those things.
Yes.
But yeah, when you're thinking about, especially like you said, if you are a first gen entrepreneur and you're building something and you really want to create something, like, think forward thinking, right? Mm-hmm. And don't be afraid to ask. Like, you talk about the North, the 95 South thing. It's okay to ask. It's okay to research. Like, get the help. Like, don't just rush into things, because if you don't know and then you get hemmed up, and now your family, friends, if you don't have kids, whoever comes behind you, now they have to start over again, right? So because you started something and now it's falling apart, or it's in debt, or
but that's what you're doing. You're doing it to lay some foundation.
Yeah.
Because where you and I are from, again, it's just not the yellow brick at all. Yeah. It's not the yellow brick road. It's different colors.
Yeah. So tell us, like, what are you doing now? Like, now that we heard the beginning, we heard the middle. Where are you at now? What do you have going on? Like, how's DJ Queen making moves?
So making moves too. Like, I will always and forever be a DJ. Even though I will retire soon. I'll retire maybe give me 10 years. But
I thought you meant like a year. You said soon.
No. Give me like a couple of years. But okay. I'm a voice actor.
Nice.
Something that struck up throughout the pandemic, of course. Like I told you, my kingdom is always going to eat. I'm never going to let it crumble with the actions of the world, because you have to learn how to create resources for yourself to kind of keep moving, because other people do it and they won't tell you how. So you kind of got to learn yourself of how can I still keep things grounded and moving, because it's just not about, you got to be completely honest. Most people think it's about the money chase, but Americans, we are built on certain things and living a certain way. We are built on making sure we can eat food, making sure that we can get to where we need to get to, making sure that we have clean drinking water. We are built on these things. And so when we go without them, I think we're going to go crazy. Like, the pandemic was close. I thought the world was going to burn down then. So, yeah, it started out through the pandemic. So I went to a couple classes online just to see what voice acting was about. Because, listen, the industry is not easy. Anything new that you get into, especially during a pandemic, is not easy, because you have voice actors who've been doing this for years, 10, 15, 20 years. So when the pandemic happened, they're like, well, whatever. I work for my studio anyway. And so more people kind of caught on to that, because I know a lot of people who went into podcasts, and I'm like, okay, cool. I know nothing about podcasting. Like, people ask me all the time, I'm like, listen, I'm an audio engineer. I work from my home. but I don't know anything about podcasting. I don't know how you
Yeah.
get the sponsors. I don't know how you get the views. I don't know. Um, people ask me a lot, but it's real talk. Like I just, some industries, a lot of people we just don't know anything about them. But voice acting, I knew nothing about it myself. Did a lot of research. I did research for like 6 months, just to make sure this is something I wanted to do, and I wanted to that made me feel comfortable, and it does, because one day I do plan on having a child, and I want my child to not feel like I'm ignoring them with my work career. So DJing, having to go out in the streets and stuff like that. I'm definitely looking for having a team soon. I'm buying a company car so that we can do that.
Forward thinking.
Yes, forward thinking. Like people always think, you thinking in the future. Yeah, I kind of am. So I definitely want to, having a family life at home is important. It's important for your energy, and it's important for you to be able to maintain that life. For you to be able to flip it on and flip it off. Like if you ever see Candy Bird, she's so busy, but she definitely makes time. Make sure she has time for her kids. So it definitely was for me to definitely want to do a career where I can work from home, and be a part of amazing projects and work with amazing people, and just tap into myself. Like, come on, the possibilities of life are endless.
I love that. Like you're building all these different options for yourself. And it's funny because when you were talking, I was like, man, she has a voice for radio. Like, like early in the beginning of this interview, I was like, she has a really good a voice.
Speaking into existence, I could use a part-time job. If anybody want to hire me, I'm available.
There you go. Like y'all, you hear her voice on here. This is her thing. So if people want to connect with you. Like this has been an awesome conversation, and we have so many points. It's like, oh, we can come back and talk about that too.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to make sure that our listeners and viewers know if they do want to connect with you, how do they connect with you? If they want to, because I met you by having, Fat Women of Color, an event for people of size. So, people might start thinking, you know what? A plus size DJ, I'm having a plus size event. This makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
So like they want to hire you and they want to work with you. How would they do that?
You could definitely follow me on, we already talked about the whole downfall of social media, but I'm on it just for marketing for sure, because that's what you got to do right now in this life. You can find me on Instagram at I am DJ Queen. On that Instagram, you will find my Instagram to my voiceover page. So I have different pages because I try to separate a little bit of my worlds.
Okay.
My I am DJ Queen page is like everything, and including family, love, fun, travel, whatever. And then my DJ Queen ENT page is definitely me building DJ Queen Entertainment. I can be followed by some hashtags here. I have Pound the Queen Experience, or you can find me at Pound the Plus Size DJ, or Facebook too. So Facebook is the same way. I have the same name for Facebook. It's DJ Queen ENT, and just follow me. Let me know if you got some work. We can work together. Definitely love to do projects with podcasting. Like for me being a voice actor, I can do your whole opening, your whole.
I will be reaching out.
Yes.
This is not my thing, but yeah, definitely. We'll make sure we put like all your information for your different offerings in the description, so that those of you who are watching, you can look in the description, get all this, and find out how to connect with DJ Queen Courtney, so that you can hire her for all the things, and she can
hire me for all things, or you could reach out to me and ask me questions. I mean, once I started voice acting, people flooded my inbox. It's like, oh, how you do this? I'm like, look, sis, I do create books and booklets for things when I first start. So when people do ask me, I am someone who will hand it down to let you know the steps. So I type it. I do, I'm like one of those people that like to keep things like that. So I've had people ask me. So in due time, I will give you a whole manual of what to do. I might write a book. Who knows?
There you go. Like I'm taking mental notes. So we will be talking later. But I really appreciate you being on it. It was so many good points. I'm definitely gonna sit with this concept of 95 South and like what the North culture. Also, just talking about being a plus size DJ in the industry, having that perseverance and sticking with your why. So, you know, you all go back, listen to this again. There's so many gems and jewels. If you're just tuning in on the live, hit rewind, and go back and hear the things that you missed, because hearing DJ Queen's journey of where she started from, and where she is now, especially if you're thinking about building something, or maybe you're in the middle of building something, you might find some inspiration and some things that will help you hold on until you get to where you're trying to go. So before we wrap up, is there anything you want to say in closing to the listeners and viewers?
To the listeners and viewers, like I told you before, it's not how you start the race, it's how you end it. Always go into things with that motto. Please listen to the replay. I do ramble a lot, I ain't gonna lie, but a lot of it is from the heart. A lot of it is heartfelt in the conversation at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not how you start the race, it's how you end it. And so just put it, you know, just have that energy on whatever you're doing. I don't care if you're not an entrepreneur. If you're working at your 9 to 5, put the energy, you know, it's how you started the job, it's not how you end the job. End that job as with competitive salary. Like, come on.
Yeah. Forward thinking.
Forward thinking. That's all I like that word. Forward.
If nothing else, we walked away. Well, thank you for being here, DJ Queen, and for being a guest. It's always good to talk to you online, in person, one-to-one. I always walk away with something, and I really appreciate you. Thank you for everybody who watched today, whether you watch live or you're watching the replay. We really appreciate it. Please make sure that you like this video. It tells YouTube and Facebook and the interwebs that you appreciate what we're creating here. Also share it with someone. If you know someone, if any of this that you think it would resonate with them, share it to them, so that they can get in on the goods too. Also make sure that you subscribe to this channel so you get notifications of other videos that are coming up, other interviews as well. And also make sure that you visit our sponsor. I'm getting tongue tied. Visit our sponsor.
Right.
And I actually have some right here.
My God.
Visit calabashtea.com and use our code FWOC. Get your discount and they'll donate a portion to us. Thank you for listening and watching. And until next time.
Much love.
Bye.